In this video, I will walk you through the process of creating a general distribution project in LMMS. To get started, we need to be logged into the server application to access the application screens. I'm going to log in using my username and password. The system welcomes you after you successfully log in. On the system dashboard, you can see a few system statistics, beneficiary numbers, projects, and distributions. There's only one project so far. To create a general distribution project, you need to navigate to the general distribution project main screen. You can do so by either selecting general distributions from the projects menu or by simply clicking on the general distribution hyperlink on the system dashboard. Selecting any of the options will take you straight to the general distribution projects main screen. You can always navigate back to the system dashboard by clicking on the system banner, all this extended rectangular area where you see the LMMS logo, the country username, and the agency logo, which is World Vision in this case. Let's navigate back to the general distribution project main screen by selecting general distributions from the projects menu. Let's then create our first general distribution project by clicking on this plus button. This gives us an empty screen which we can populate with the data required for our general distribution project. The LMMS project number is a local project identifier that must be unique across all projects created in LMMS regardless of type. So let's type ph-gd/bantayan-02345/2017. LMMS uses a project naming convention to define project numbers. This project number is then interpreted as PH is the ISO Alpha 2 code for the country where the project is being implemented, Philippines in this case. ZW will be Zimbabwe, for example. GD is the acronym for the project type general distribution, as aid for work will be AFW, TF will be targeted feeding. Bantayan is the location where the project is being implemented. 02345 is the project unique number, which is also unique outside LMMS. 2017 is the fiscal year which the project started or starts if it hasn't started yet. PBUS stands for Project Budget Accounting System Number, is a project funding identification code used in World Vision internal finance systems. This field can be localized to any user agency context. It's basically a backend configuration parameter that can be chained to whatever term is used by the subject host agency to identify project funding. So let's type 778765 for this example project. The project title is simply the name of the project as indicated in the project proposal documents. Please make sure you type the project name or title using proper grammar, because the project presentation in reports will not reflect well when improperly typed. Our project name is going to be Bantayan Vulnerable Group Feeding. I'm going to type that quickly. Location refers to the administrative divisions where the project is being implemented. The location details are normally preset at the time baseline data is defined before the actual field programs begin, unless the project then extends to a new area that was not initially entered in the system. At that point, the new location can be entered. Let's see what happens when we begin to type Bantayan, BA. The system gives you a list of locations in level 1 and level 2 that match your keyboard entry. We want Bantayan in this case. Make sure you do not type a location and try to use one that is not recognized by the system, because you will not be able to save your project successfully. In such a case, please ask your administrator to create your location in the system before you use it. Identify the donor of the project by selecting a donor from the donors drop-down list. Again, if the donor is not available, please contact your system administrator to get it added into the system. So this is basically your funding source. Select World Food Program rather. The duration refers to the project activity period or the lifetime of the project. This is defined in terms of start date, which is the date the project kicks off or kicked off. So let's select 1st of May 2017. We're doing that by invoking the date picker which we're going to do that to specify the plan date, which is basically the date the project is projected to end. Let's select 28th of Feb 2018. The actual end date is the date the project actually ends, and if the project is extended, this actual end date can be updated to reflect the new end date of the project. And we can of course type by following the format year, month, and date, and the actual end date is normally the same as the plan date end date at the time the project is created. Household estimate is the estimated number of households that will benefit from the project. This is not used for any calculation within the system, only for planning purposes. So let's enter 500 as an example. You'll get this information from your project proposal documents. Enrolled is just a visual count of the households currently enrolled in the project, because you register and then you enroll. Every time new enrollments are carried out or terminated, this number will automatically adjust to reflect the current active household enrollments. The notes field is used to record information pertinent to the project that may not be captured through the other project standard fields. As an example, I'm going to type this VGF project is meant to provide aid to the highly vulnerable typhoon victims in Bantayan. So of all the fields that we've populated so far, donor, PBUS number, and the notes field must not be populated. All those other fields must have a value for a project to be complete. So notes, donor, which is the other one? Can you remember? PBUS, of course, which is this field right here. Under the context drop-down list, select the prevailing situation leading to the formulation and implementation of the project. Let's select typhoon, for example, projects here. You see a number of options, of course. Select the one that applies to your situation. And then let's proceed to define the household ration schedules now. Click on this plus button to load a new household ration pop-up activity. Type the name of the item to be distributed under the commodity field. Note that as you type the name of the item, the system will bring back a list of items with the name that matches your keyboard entry. In this case, we're looking for brown rice to distribute in this project. This is the item that we're going to be distributing to the household. Commodities may be distributed following different modalities depending on the type of item to be distributed. This is what we specify under the distribution channel dropdown. There are 3 different distribution channels supported by LMMS. FDP is basically the physical point where we meet with the community to distribute items such as food, non-food items, and cash in some instances when distributed in envelopes. Other agencies are third-party agents subcontracted by the aid agency to distribute cash mostly on their behalf because of the security involved in distributing cash. This can be security companies, can also be microfinance institutions that have the infrastructure to do that. Electronic payments or electronic agencies are used to distribute electronic vouchers and electronic cash sometime. E-payments includes options as banks, mobile telephone companies, microfinance institutions, and so on and so forth. For you to use electronic payment agencies successfully, you also need to have electronic payment accounts for the beneficiaries, which can be collected through registration or imported through a separate process, which is going to be covered with different videos. So let's select FDP for this item. Right. So it's FDP we need. We are obviously not going to be distributing rice through other agencies. Enter the amount of the commodity to be distributed to a single household, single member, or group beneficiaries in the quantity box. So let's enter 3. Then I'll explain the target household units. Per household is the default option, but general distribution projects often distribute rations on a per member basis. Per household is a blanket ration size for all households enrolled in the project. When the per member option is selected, household rations will be calculated based on the household size. E.g., if we say 3 kg per member, a household of size 10 will receive 30 kgs. You will also have a few other member options, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members, that will group members according to household sizes again. For example, if 2 kgs of brown rice are to be distributed for every 3 members, a household of size 10 will only get 6 kg. Limit refers to the maximum quantity of an item to be distributed when the item ration size is defined on a per member basis. For example, if you're distributing 3 kg of brown rice per household, a household with 20 members will receive 60 kg. The project implementation process may choose to impose a limit of 45 kg per household, in which case the system will only distribute 45 kg for all households of 15 members and above. So to impose the limit of 45, let's do that. And notice that this limit can only be applied if rations are distributed on a per member basis, not per household basis. Select OK. Let's go over the process again to add a few more items. So let's add vegetable oil, and we're going to be distributing 1.8 kg per household via final distribution point, of course. Right, plus button again, distribute peso, which is the Philippines local currency. We distribute 150 peso per member through electronic payment agencies. The next item is maize grain. We're going to be distributing 100 kg per member. That's massive to be distributed via e-payment agencies. There has to be a problem there if you're following the training. Please note that you can always delete an item by clicking on the delete button, and that's what we're just going to do for maize grain, which I'm sure you can notice the anomaly in the way it has been defined. Distributing 100 kg of maize per member through e-payment agencies is obviously not possible. After you've entered all the information, save your project by hitting the save button, or cancel if you don't want to save, in which case you're going to lose all the data you just entered. I'm obviously going to save my project. When you save, you're taken back to the general distribution project's main screen, this time with a newly created GD project. You can edit by simply clicking on the edit button. You can add a new item. I'm going to add family tent, going to distribute 2 tents, whatever number you want to distribute per household. Going to hit the save button. Right, can delete my project. Sorry, I meant to delete, but I don't want to delete because the action cannot be undone. I'm going to cancel, but of course you can delete if you want, and you can go back to the system dashboard, and now you see the statistics have changed, that you have 2 projects. We hope this video has helped you understand how to create a general distribution project. Remember that you can always look at the screenshots and information below this video as well if that's helpful. If you want to reach out to us for more information, please do so by dropping an email to helpdesk@lmms.org. Thank you.